Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. If you've been doom scrolling through the rumors and hype drops lately, you already know that the anticipation is reaching an absolute boiling point. Today, we are breaking down a massive new text leak that just dropped regarding the highly anticipated next chapter of Survival, Soul Survival, The Evolution of the Dead. So get comfortable, because we're going to unpack every single detail of this leak to understand exactly where this terrifying story is heading next.
Okay, let's dive into this. The source material hits the ground running with this explosive opening line. Wait, All of Us Are Dead Season 2 leaks just got crazier? And yes, it comes complete with the screaming emoji right there in the text. This isn't just a minor casting update or some tiny production rumor. This is a foundational shift in the narrative that fans have been waiting for. The creators are evidently turning the volume all the way up, and they definitely want us to know it.
All right, let's look at Section 1, the Season 2 leaks moving beyond the high school. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive paradigm shift we're actually looking at here. Think about it. For those who survived the emotional meat grinder of the first chapter, the defining characteristic was that intense claustrophobia, right? The Season 1 paradigm was strictly inside a school. It was locked down, isolated, desperate, and completely contained. But the Season 2 paradigm? We are looking at a university in Seoul, and the characters are supposedly living a normal life. I mean, the scale has just exploded from a single suburban high school to a sprawling university campus right in the middle of a massive metropolis.
Moving on to Section 2, a new Seoul setting and the illusion of peace.
It's genuinely fascinating to stop and consider the psychological state of our survivors here based on this text. They've made it out, they're in a sprawling university environment in a major city, which, usually symbolizes a fresh start, expanding horizons, a bright future. The text specifically highlights that they are trying to live a normal life again. Just sit with that phrase for a second, trying to live a normal life. It's incredibly hopeful, isn't it? It shows so much resilience. But as viewers who understand the brutal mechanics of this universe, we really have to ask ourselves, how long can that peace truly last? When you carry the kind of deep trauma these characters do, is a normal life even on the table anymore?
Well, the answer, according to the leak, is not long at all. But suddenly, a new outbreak begins. The punctuation in the source text here is just vital. You have the ellipses trailing off, kind of lulling you into a false sense of security, and then it leads right into this blunt, terrifying statement. Their whole attempt at normalcy is completely shattered. It's an abrupt, violent disruption. The nightmare has tracked them down again, right in the middle of Seoul.
Which brings us to Section 3, Evolution of the Infected, and how the threat escalates.
So the crucial point here is that reports strongly suggest this won't just be a simple repeat of the past. It's not just the exact same monsters dropped into a new location. No, the virus, the enemy, the very nature of the threat itself is adapting. The source delivers this incredibly ominous warning, and this time, things might be even worse. Take a second to process that. Worse? Worse than watching your friends turn in the cafeteria? Worse than a citywide military lockdown? The text relies heavily on our existing knowledge of the sheer devastation from the past to build this deep psychological suspense around what worse actually looks like.
Now, what's really interesting about this detail is how the text strictly defines this evolution. Fans are buzzing about two distinct new categories of threats. First, we have stronger infected humans. This implies a terrifying physical evolution. They're faster, more resilient, and much harder to stop. Second is the return of dangerous half-zombies. These are the hybrids, the ones who actually retain some human intelligence and emotion, but still harbor the deadly infection, making them unpredictable, cunning, and just incredibly dangerous.
When we put it all together here, the escalating horrors become overwhelmingly clear. 1. A completely new outbreak in a heavily populated university setting. 2. Stronger infected humans tearing through the campus with enhanced physicality. 3. The return of those dangerous, intelligent half-zombies blending right into the chaos. The adrenaline, the panic, the sheer scale of the danger has literally been multiplied exponentially. I mean, how do you even fight an enemy that is physically and mentally evolved while you are just trying to study for exams?
And finally, Section 4, was it just the beginning? The ultimate question.
After processing all of this rapid escalation, the massive new setting, the shattered peace, these heavily evolved threats, the text forces us to kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture of this entire universe. The source drops a quick follow for more Netflix updates, reminding us exactly where this intel is stemming from and confirming that more information is inevitably on the horizon. But right before that sign-off, the leak leaves us with a lingering, overarching mystery that just completely reframes everything we've talked about today.
Did the nightmare ever really end, or was Season 1 just the beginning? Look closely at those words. It challenges our fundamental understanding of their survival. If the virus can adapt, if a brand new outbreak can happen at a university in Seoul with stronger, smarter infected, then maybe their past trauma wasn't the climax of their story at all. Maybe all of that was merely the prologue. I really want you to think about that as you wait for the next update, because if this leak holds true, the real fight hasn't even started yet. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, stay curious.